I'm not doing any approvals. We just go up north. Yeah.
I said I got back, but maybe they didn't check or
I
something.
was here again.
Next week sometime, good week.
Yeah, yeah.
I'll reach out to you. Okay, whatever is convenient.
Yeah, it should be pretty flexible next week. I'm just traveling work during this week. So.
I gotta take a break.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us today, both in person and through our Zoom. If you are able to stand with us, please join us for the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Clark, would you please call the roll?
Thank you. Trustee Bowen,
Here.
trustee Cascarella,
Present.
trustee Lyman,
Here.
trustee Mojica,
Here.
treasurer Fedorov.
Here.
Clerk Clark is present, supervisor Brewer.
Present.
You have quorum.
Thank you so much. And we are now on to something really exciting on our program, and that is we're going to call up Chief Feichner, and he's going to do the pinning, which is such a special time in the evening. So Chief Feichner, if you would come up, I'm going to turn this part of the program over to you.
Probably turn my phone off.
Please do.
Honorable board, family members, guests and citizens that join us here tonight. One of the great things we get to do, other than swear in brand new firefighters, is to recognize those that step up to lead those that step up to help others in times of emergency, probably their worst time that they'll ever have to interact with us. So we have several promotions that we're going to recognize this evening. We have people that have stepped up to become captains, engineers. We have a firefighter that just came off probation. All of these people, it's really a momentous moment and occasion for them. They've had to be evaluated, take written exams, oral exams, interviews. It's actually quite a process. Then they finally get to exhale. So without further ado or possibly, we will call up those being promoted. Soon to be Captain Corinne Fiala, just come on up. Jason Serrata, Mr. Cassiotti, Mr. Jeffers, Mr. Schaefer, and Mr. Burns, if you would all just come up, we'll do it probably right here. And then we will bring up those that will be pinning on their badges. Marley will be pinning on her mom's badge, so why don't you come on up? Josie will be pinning on Captain Serrata's badge. Samantha will be pinning on Mr. Cassiotti's badge. Mom and Dad, Mr. Jeffers. Emily for Mr. Schaefer, and Battalion Chief Lane will be pinning on Mr. Burns's badge. It's like almost dealing cards here with all those badges.
And you're welcome to use the space in front here too. Feel free to.
You sure
use the
could.
space. Absolutely. Say, you have plenty right here.
All right, I guess we're going out there.
Yes, please.
This one. Okay. Here.
Okay, we have EMTs if you get stabbed.
Ladies and gentlemen, board, your new officers.
If you all could work your way around the board, we'd love to say thank you and congratulations to you. Thank you.
Congratulations. Thank you.
Congratulations. Congratulations.
Thank you. This is better than a receiving line and a wedding, except there's no.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Congratulations to you.
Congratulations.
Knocking stuff down.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Chief, and congratulations to everyone. Ooh, that makes our meeting so much fun and special. Not like these aren't fun. But that's extra fun. All right, is there a motion to approve? I'm sorry.
If this is any incentive for how quick the board meeting is going to go tonight, there'll be cake and ice cream at the fire station.
Thank you so much. Okay, we are now to the agenda. Is there a motion to approve the agenda or are there any amendments? Karen? Mahoney?
I move to approve the agenda as presented.
Support.
It has been moved and supported. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Thank you. We do not have any public hearings tonight. There are a couple of pieces of communications in your packet, board members, and for the public, they were out on our website to purview at any time that's convenient for you. So we're going to move on. We're now at public comment. So if you would like to come and speak for 3 minutes, please do. Just know that we will not comment while you're making your comments or afterwards, but if the board members have anything they'd like to say later in the program, they're welcome to do so. Thank you, Senator Anthony, for coming.
Thank you. Good morning, Madam Supervisor, trustees. Thank you for allowing me to speak. My name is Sarah Anthony. I serve as your state senator for the 21st district, which includes all of Eaton County and the majority of Ingham County, including my hometown of Lansing. So I just wanted to say hello and make sure everyone knew who I was and knew how to contact our office. We have a very constituent forward office. We are known for making sure that folks are able to lift up their voices in terms of public policy and also give us feedback, ideas, and help cut through red tape. I wanted just to say a few things. One is that we have a coffee hour that will be scheduled on Friday, August 15th from 9 to 10 o'clock at Flower Child Bakery, one of my favorite places to go in Eaton County. And so we always encourage residents to come. I do a brief community and capital update, and then we listen. We share ideas. We talk about the issues of the day in a nonpartisan way. I also wanted to let folks know that I not only serve as your state senator, but also the chair of the Senate Appropriations Committee, which means I have the opportunity to help craft the state's budget. Billions of dollars that are allocated for roads, for schools, housing, human services. And it's a very tough year this year. Many of the changes that are taking place at the federal level will impact our friends and families and neighbors. And so I encourage you to go to our website, which you can just look it up, Senator Sarah Anthony, to find out the latest updates about how those federal changes will impact us in mid-Michigan. So again, I just wanted to say hello. Thank you all for your service to our community. It is hard work. There are lots of things that are happening in and around our community, and the fact that you have stepped up to serve in this way, it means a lot to our constituents. And again, for anyone who is watching, feel free to reach out to me either on social media, call, email, carrier pigeon, however it works. So thank you again for the opportunity.
Thank you, Senator. Any other public speakers for tonight?
I'd be the only one.
Well, come on. Well, you'd be the second one. Come on up.
My name is Dennis Dan. I live on 227 Richard Avenue since 1977. First, I have a request, and only a request. I'd like everyone to pay their fair share. It seems to be that others are not paying their fair share. The residents are paying their fair share, perhaps a little more than fair share. The businesses are not. The industry is not. Well, yeah, but they provide. No, we provide. We provide your fire. We provide your safety. We provide your salaries. Commensurately, the businesses Well, we'll get them to come here and we'll give them a tax abatement. But they can afford to pay it. If it wasn't a place to come, why would they even come here with or without a tax abatement? Stop giving away our money. No longer are the people buying homes here wanting to improve them. It's already bad enough they have to now pay an increased tax. I won't sell my properties. I'll rent them. And I don't have to put any money into them. Will their value go down? Yeah. Will my property tax go up? Yeah. So I'm not going to provide money to people who aren't earning. I'm not going to provide money to CATA. I'm not going to provide money to people that aren't going to help themselves. That's it. Thank you
so
very much for your
Thank
time.
you. Thank you. Any other public speakers?
Good evening. I am Brenda Henderson, 4808 Delta River Drive. Next month, which is the month of August, at the beginning of the month, you all have some important decisions that have to be made. And you have some important events that you are going to make decisions for that's going to alert the people in Delta Township on what's going to happen. And so I hope people will come and listen to what you are going to tell us, especially with the CATA and with our policing, which is very important to me. I have voted for every millage bond that has to do with public safety. And whatever you come up with, I'm going to be voting again. So thank you for your service, like Senator Anthony has said, because you are the ones that are the glue to keep our township together. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Henderson. Anyone else? Seeing none, we will move down our agenda. And we are to the consent agenda. Is there a motion for the consent agenda?
I move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Is there support?
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll have a roll call vote.
Trustee Cascarella,
Yes.
trustee Lyman,
Aye.
trustee Mohica,
Yes.
trustee Bowen,
Yes.
treasurer Fedewa.
Yes.
Clerk Clark is yes, supervisor Brewer,
Yes.
motion carries.
Thank you so much. We are now down to, looks like the new business items. There's no old business items. We're down to the new business item. And the first one is the police contract with Eaton County. And I'm going to turn this over to Manager Reed to walk us through the high points of the contract.
Thank you Supervisor Brewer. As you remember, around June 5th, we had a special meeting where we had agreed upon the financial components of a deal with the county to keep our police contract in effect. So we've had another month and a half or so of efforts to bring the language together, which you have in your packet. I just want to hit the high notes on the culmination of this contract. Number one, last Wednesday, the County Board of Commissioners passed this unanimously. So this contract is a 10-year contract, approximate annual cost of $8 million, includes 40 positions. Some of the high notes that I just want to hit before we open it up for questions or discussions is that we do have protections in here if the county is to receive more revenue for public safety, restarts out county patrol, or enters into a contract with another jurisdiction that's more favorable than the Delta contract, we can reopen the contract for items in the contract. Also, any revenue from short-term contracts, for instance, with the Lansing Mall, will be credited, that revenue will be credited to the township. We have a reconciliation after every year. So in the past, with our contract, we'd pay for positions that might be unfilled at the time. Now we will have a reconciliation at the end of the year to receive a credit for positions not filled. Conversely, if there's additional costs or overtime, we will pay those as well outside of the budget. There is an administrative fee of 15% to help cover administrative costs. 33% of that administration fee in the county will be dedicated to MERS. So you'll see a couple of those examples in this contract, including a contribution by the township into MERS. So it's a big step by the county to address some of what drives their costs, which is the MERS system. As I mentioned, we have a one-time upfront $2 million MERS contribution to help Eaton County, which will help them amortize some of their MERS payments. We do receive that $2 million back in credits with the contract, both the principal as well as earnings on that, approximately 6% or so, which is higher than what we can receive anywhere else. So that's it helps the county, and it also we receive those funds back with the investment earnings. Lastly, I just want to mention our command staff that we will pay for at the Delta Patrol will not supervise any non-Delta deputies, with the exception of the Waverly School Resource Officer. So any other contracts out in the county will have to have their own command, pay for their own command staff. A question that has typically come up is just mutual aid, or will our deputies be dedicated to Delta or be helping anywhere else in the county or anywhere else? We will, there's specific language. They will be dedicated to Delta, only to leave Delta in cases of a typical mutual aid emergency where there's life or safety at risk. So they will not be taking a car deer accident in another township or that type of thing. They will respond if someone's life is in jeopardy in a situation, as do all other police departments when that happens. In addition, they will provide assistance if a specialty is required, for instance, a canine or a dive unit. Again, same as if we had our own police force, or as has historically been in those matters of grave emergencies, departments band together. So those are really the high notes that I wanted to hit. I'd just like to thank Supervisor Brewer and our Finance Director, Courtney Nichols, for participating in these negotiations with the county. I think this reflects a very good collaboration and making the best out of this situation, and ended up with a very good contract moving forward. But happy to answer any questions on the contract.
Are there any questions before we move into a motion, or we can have somebody can place a motion and then we can go into discussion?
I don't have a question, but I just want to make a couple comments. Is that all right, or would you like me to wait?
Will you make the motion first and then we'll do discussion?
Sure.
We do that?
The manager's office recommends that Delta Township Board approves the resolution to enter into the contract with Eaton County for police services. I further move that the township supervisor and township clerk are authorized and directed to sign the contract. I further move that the township finance director is authorized to disperse the $2 million to the county for the additional MERS payment by October 1st, 2025.
Thank you, trustee Bowen. It has been moved. It is supported by clerk Clark. Now, is there a discussion? Trustee Bowen.
My comments, yes, I just want to say, I listened to the public comments from the meeting that I missed. I'm hearing the public comments today, and I just want to reiterate that without this contract, there will be no policing for Delta Township. There will only be 26, I believe it was, state police officers for 6 counties. That is not adequate. We need a police presence. It's not just about protection and safety. It's about keeping property safe. It's about lowering insurance costs. It's about keeping that infrastructure in place so that when the county is in a more viable financial situation, they can restart the out county. This contract is more than we have been paying. It is significantly more expensive. We are taking on more of the cost, but the county's financial situation has forced these changes. This is the reality, and we have reacted to the reality and made the best deal that we can. Courtney, especially with her suggestion about the MERS, that is really a great deal for us. And 1.5 mils of the assessment that we're going to talk about at our next meeting is less than the mills that were proposed in the 2 ballot proposals that went down in November and May. The first one was 3 mils, the second one was 2 mils. So this is less than that, but both of those were passed by a majority of Delta Township residents. So we have heard our residents who said, yes, we want to support public safety. And so that is why we are moving forward with this. And those are my comments.
Thank you, trustee Bowen. Clerk Clark?
I also want to speak in huge support of this contract. Many of us started getting calls the day after the May election when the ballot proposal failed countywide from businesses who feel that a target was placed on their back, and notifying us, putting us on notice that they would not remain in Delta Township without a full-time police force for the danger to their customers and their employees. And it started a whole nother vein of how we looked at this, because I always looked at it in terms of, I don't want to live in a third world country and for, you know, our protection as individuals. But there was another piece of this, and that is our businesses, which are, you know, make up a huge part of our community and who do pay taxes. And we really couldn't in good conscience sit by and let, first of all, our residents' safety become at risk, or our businesses for that. So I thank you so much for your work, because this was a giant uphill mountain to climb, and I feel that everybody did a very professional and mature job in getting us where we are today, and I appreciate it from both sides, county and ours. So thank you.
Thank you, Clerk Clark.
Thank you.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I absolutely agree with the comments that have been made thus far. Fully support this as well, and believe it's critical to the community to have public safety. And I know there was the mention about businesses and the serious concerns they had an agreement not been reached. But equally important, every resident, and I think all of us as members of this community, our property, our livelihoods at risk if we don't have that presence and deter crime. And just want to add too, there were a number of options that our staff brought to the board to look at. And this was the most comprehensive, the most cost-effective, and ensured a seamless transition from where we are today and where we knew it was going to go without any coverage, to ensure there was no gaps in police protection for our community, and it done in the most cost-effective manner. So just want to reiterate those points as well. Thank you.
Thank you, trustee Pascarella. Treasurer Fedewa.
Yeah, I agree with what everybody else has said. I think fundamentally is that our responsibility and fiduciary responsibility is the health and safety primarily of our residents of this community. And I think as a board, we determined that no other option really would have met that level of service and requirement based on the number of calls that our officers, the deputies do on a daily basis. It's mind-boggling, would have met the needs of the community. So, you know, we really didn't have a choice on this to keep the status quo level of the amount of public safety service that our residents have come to expect and need. So we've come together on that. It doesn't surprise me that eventually that we were going to end up paying more is because the county over a number of years has been facing a financial crisis and it came to a crescendo. And it didn't take a rocket science to figure out that something was going to have to give and that we were probably going to have to pay more. Given the fact that we had a pretty good deal with the county and our previous agreement with them, this is the first chance I've had to really look at the language of the actual agreement. And I know we're taking a vote tonight and I'll be supporting it. I wish I could have had a little bit more input in some of the language because I felt that there's two items I just want to point out. One is that these deputies are still going to be employees of the county. And when they negotiate with their respective unions for the next contract, I would like to have seen that basically the county is going to be negotiating in good faith on behalf of the township. They're not our employees. We don't want to get held into any employer-employee relationship, but still some sort of clarification language like that could have been inserted in that, or at least we could have discussed that. I've heard about the $2 million for the mirrors. It's no secret that part of the budget problem faced by Eaton County is because of their legacy costs, primarily with their retirement system, and that's what that is. So I think the township is being extremely generous in front loading a $2 million appropriation in addition to the actual cost of the contract itself to help the county out on this. The thing is that I would have liked to have a discussion and that $2 million would have been directly attributable to our 30+ officers and their retirement needs and the contributions for that expenditure. I think language could have been in there to make that somewhat clearer because right now it just goes into a pool, which would anyway, but at least some additional language in the contract itself would have made it clear really what the $2 million is for. If we do continue this contract over 2 or 10 years, we will get our money back in full plus an amount. So we will see about that. And every year we'll be reviewing exactly what these actual baseline costs are. And right now we've determined through our staff is that it's going to require 1.5 mils. We've all received notices on that. And we know our individual assessments to our individual properties. However, that's not necessarily a status quo figure. It can change year to year, and we'll have to determine what the baseline is on a year-to-year basis. So we will see if that 1.5 mils will be sufficient, if it needs to increase or it needs to decrease. But anyway, I just wanted to put that perspective out. Sorry I've been gone. I missed y'all, but I think we need to move forward on this and look forward with the other challenges the township is facing. Thank you.
Thank you, Treasurer Fedewa. Any other comments? All right, I would just like to add a couple of things. I want to say thank you to the board for your support with putting forth the negotiations team to pull together a contract on your behalf. And I could not go forward without thanking the county. They had a team of negotiators that were stellar, and they came to the table at a very difficult time, very difficult for them. So I want to thank the chairman of the board, Jim Mott, and of course, Connie Sobley, who is the Brian Green. She's the controller. She's the Connie. She is the coordinator for us. And Ben, who also works with that team. They were great. They did a great job. Those were not easy meetings at all, but we weathered through that storm. And I just want to make a couple of points is the contract that we're going to be paying, the 8 million, we're paying for the service we're getting. We have not done that in the past. So this is paying for the service we're getting. It is not a subsidized contract. It is for us to pay for what we need for this township to keep this township safe. And I think that is a fair price for the services that we're getting. And I also want to say thank you to the board members. You've had this packet of information available to you. You've had the language available to you. I appreciate you looking over it and seeing it. And you've had the ability to make any comments about any of the contract language that was there before you to do so. So not hearing any other comments, I'm going to ask for a roll call vote because this is a pretty big issue. Clerk Clark?
Trustee Bowen,
Yes.
clerk Clark is yes, treasurer Fedewa,
Yes.
trustee Mohica,
Yes.
trustee Lyman,
Aye.
trustee Cascarilla,
Yes.
supervisor Brewer.
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you. Thank you for carrying that motion forward. The next item of business is the November 4th, 2025 election draft ballot proposal. That language needs to be reviewed by the board and approved if you so desire to do so. So I'm going to turn that over to Manager Reed, I believe.
Yes, Supervisor Brewer and board members, at the June 16th board meeting, we discussed future ballot language for public transportation in Delta Township. As you know, over the last several years, we've worked with CADA and they've had some grants in order to provide the extension to Route 3, which really grew out of some efforts we had with CADA back years ago, where we had some pilot grants. We explored some service in Delta Township, and those did not work out as well. And from there, we dialed it in more into a Route 3 extension. And that's been pretty successful over the last few years. As you know, all of the grants are expiring. So we're at a point in time where we have to put it in front of voters if they want to see these services continue in Delta. So as I said, at the June 16th board meeting, the board voted to have us move forward with preparing some language for a ballot proposal. If there's any thing additional, of course, Clerk Clark is the chair of the E-Tran board. And again, there's been a tremendous partnership between E-Tran and CADA. This millage would be Delta Township Public Transportation millage, so we would have the choice of contracting with anyone we choose who provides those services. So with that, I'll turn it back for any questions or discussion of the board.
Let's first take a motion. Clerk.
I move that the Delta Township Board adopt the following resolution to place a question on the November 4th, 2025 ballot with the proposed ballot language included as Exhibit A.
Is there support? Support. It has been moved and supported. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, let's have a roll call vote for the, oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Trustee Costa.
Thank you.
Please.
I just wanted to make a comment on this. You know, I do intend to support the motion to put this on the ballot. You know, there have been a lot of issues. We just talked about the public safety, special assessment. You know, there are a number of residents in the community that are facing a special assessment with the bank drain, the county, inter-county drain, improvements on the bank drain. A lot of pressures. We know costs are high, and in this route has been incredibly successful, but there is a cost, and obviously this is a proposal with a cost. And so I do think it's appropriate to put this question before the residents of the community to kind of make that decision about whether or not this is a priority for us. And so we'll be supporting that, but recognize there's just a lot of challenges a lot of folks in our community have been facing, and especially on the financial front. And so I'm cognizant of that and think this is an important decision for us to make collectively.
Thank you, Trustee. Treasurer?
Yeah, thank you. I agree with you, Trustee Cascarilla, and just to bring it before the people. I think that the proponents of this have a very powerful argument to sell. And I think a community, to be a entire community, is more than just people who drive their SUVs down the road. There are elements of our society that don't have that privilege or elect not to do that. They really do walk or do a bicycle or some other mode of transportation. But I think back, and if you look at old pictures, every city, Lansing, Kalamazoo, they all had public transportation. They all had trolleys. Every single one did. And they were vibrant downtowns or vibrant communities. And we look at them nostalgically, but and then we've lost it. And this is sort of like the clawback of the way it used to be to try to make, a very vibrant, core, community. So that's just a recognition of what, a community should do is provide that sort of access and transportation options to all its residents. And so this is just an offering that we're letting our residents decide for themselves. And hopefully they'll take the literature seriously and look at it and make a very qualified decision on that. So I'll be supporting it.
I do want to say this has been, we're almost 3 full years. The end of September would be 3 full years that we have been working in partnership as a community with CATA to provide, it's an extension of Route 3, which goes from downtown Lansing all the way to Canal, down through Marketplace, through Delta Crossings, and then and reversing that back around. Every morning, I see the same thing as I come up Canal to work. I see people getting on Route 3 to go to their job downtown or somewhere along that route, and I see people getting off Route 3 to go to their jobs here in Delta. And we have been blessed with actually 2 grants from Department of Transportation that for $2.6 million, as we piloted this program, looked at the times and the routes, exactly where the bus needed to go. We surveyed riders. Why are you on the bus? We surveyed businesses. We've been able to come up with combined modes of transportation where a worker can come and then pick up another arm of, it's called rides, that currently is under contract by CATA, but to take workers out to the industrial area where Route 3 is not going. So we've tried to meet the needs of everyone in the community that has taken the opportunity to do public transportation. And we feel that we feel it's good for the township. It brings people in, it takes people out. And as LEAP just recently discussed at their board meeting, a population trend study, Michigan is expected to lose population every year, every 10 years for the next, I think it was 30 years. One of the things that Bob Tresice, who is the CEO of LEAP, spoke to the night we had the hearing about this is younger workers that we need, residents want public transportation. They want the option of public transportation and to not have, cars are expensive. Parking is expensive, gas is expensive, and they want options. And if we want to attract workers and residents to come into Michigan, we're going to have to meet a broader appeal than has been our traditional mode in the state of Michigan since the auto industry really took over. So I hope everyone will support this.
Trustee Bowen? I want to refer back to when we had some public comments at the 2 meetings ago, and we had someone from, I can't remember the name of the group, but she's part of Lansing Tourism.
Yeah.
And she was talking about the importance of public transportation, having just spent time in 3 major European cities, and all we did was take public transportation. All the money that we spent there, you could think about, we could be bringing in tourists to Delta Township from all different places around the state and maybe even the country. And if they have the option to hop on and off buses, then they can get around, and that is a plus to our community as well. So that's extra income that can come in.
Any other comments? Well, I would like to just add, I support the sentiments that have been shared. I think this is community. And I think making sure that we have a means for everyone to get to and fro is what Delta Township is all about. This is a place to work, play, and live, and to be able to get around. And so I think that We need this service. I love the pilot. I was here, part of it from the beginning. It has done well. It has served our community well. As Mary said, people are not just coming in, but they're going out. They're utilizing the transportation to go about their day. And it is helping so many. The people that I've talked to are the seniors or those who are need an extra assistance and can't drive. They utilize this all the time. And so it has been a huge benefit for people who are not as able-bodied. And I too support it and would love for it to continue. And the community, the residents will decide that, and that's fine with me that they do so. So we are going to have a roll call, please.
Okay. Clerk Clark is yes. Trustee Mohica,
Yes.
trustee Lyman.
Aye.
Trustee Cascarilla,
Yes.
trustee Bowen.
Yes.
Treasurer Fedowa.
Yes.
Supervisor Brewer.
Yes.
Passes unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you both for that. We are now on to the manager's report.
Thank you Supervisor Brewer. So thanks to the board for their support on those two challenging issues and working through that. We get a reprieve for about a week, and then the week of August 4th, we of course have the special hearing for the public safety assessment on August 4th. All those mailings have gone out. I just wanted to mention, we do have a website set up, deltami.gov/public safety. So as we get questions, we continually update our frequently asked questions. We have a lot of documents out there. As trustee Bowen mentioned, our voters did vote in the affirmative of both of the failed county millages. We have those, we've added those numbers recently due to some inquiries. We also have some a chronology of the Eaton County Police contract, as well as a comparison of municipal taxes and other communities in the Tri-County area. I think, as I mentioned at the last meeting, I think Delta provides a very good value for a full service community. When you look at a lot of those lists, there's not very many that provide robust police and fire and parks and all the different services that we provide. The next night after August 4th, on Tuesday the 5th, have another busy night. We have an open house for our master plan efforts, and it's also a National Night Out, which will be at Mount Hope Park this year due to the construction at Sharp Park. And then, of course, on Wednesday the 6th, we have our Housing ABCs symposium. So it'll be a busy week that week. But that's all I have tonight, but happy to answer any questions of the board.
Are there any questions for Manager Reed? Well, I just want to say thank you to you and your team. I know you've been fielding calls. So they're there. They can answer your calls if you have any questions about the special assessment. They are taking calls all day and will avail themselves to answer calls. So thank you for doing that.
If I could, Supervisor Brewer, yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. I'd just like to thank all of our staff because of course, several of us, myself, Courtney, Aaron, Mary Werland are heavily involved with that. But all of our frontline staff, whether it be in the assessing department, clerk's office, accounting, parks, all get inquiries as they come in. So we've had a good internal plan, but stuff like this really does put some burden on them, and they've all really stepped up and have a great interest in the township and in doing their job. So often get overlooked because they deal with the day-to-day customers, and I really appreciate all of their efforts with that. So
Thank you. We do as well. Okay, we are now down to board member and committee reports or comments. Are there in for clerk?
I do just want to bring the board up to date. We had an election commission meeting right before this meeting, and when we did the 2020 census redistricting that was required by law, we stayed at the 16 precincts that we have historically had for quite some time. Part of that was, and we had a couple smaller precincts in anticipation of growth that we thought would already be in place by 2025, which we have not experienced. And with some changes in how people are voting, over 50% of our voters now vote other than on election day, be that absentee voting or early voting. For the November 24 election, we had just barely under 5,000 people vote early voting. So how people vote has changed tremendously since I became clerk in 2011. We did one consolidation last year and went from 16 to 14 precincts. And we just approved tonight, as part of our assessment in the clerk's office of how we could tighten our belts to contribute to the monies that are going to be needed from our internal current budget for the police contract. We just made 3 more consolidations, so we are now at 11 precincts. And just in election equipment alone, which we will be required to buy in 2027, our new equipment, we will be saving in the neighborhood of $50,000 for that. And every election that we hold costs the township per precinct between $4,000 and $5,000, and sometimes up on big elections where we have to staff heavier. It's even more than that $4,000 to $5,000 range. So, and that is a long-term annual savings that we will have from elections. I have not had a year yet where we have not had at least one election. In most years, we have 2 elections. Last year we had 4. So if we had done this last year and you look at reducing 3 precincts through 4 elections, it would have been a significant amount of money. So we, election commission, which is trustee Mojica and trustee Cascarella and myself, as set by the Charter Township Act, did vote to go to 11 precincts tonight, and we will have maps in the office. It doesn't really, we're trying to keep people, like some of them voting where they already voted, where we had 2 precincts in a building. Some people will be voting at new sites. Everyone impacted by this will receive a new voter information card in the mail, so they know where they're going to go. We'll have the map on our website and do some public education, because we do have 2 ballot issues in November. Waverly voters have a sinking fund renewal, and then we have the public transportation millage. So we will make sure that everyone is aware where they vote.
Because this
Well
change will
above.
take place before
This
November.
Yes, this change takes place right now. As soon as we notify the state, we'll notify the state tomorrow and move forward. I'll entertain any questions.
I just want to commend Clerk Clark for all of her work in consolidating these precincts, finding savings and reducing costs, especially knowing all the challenges we're facing as a township, and reducing that burden on our residents and taxpayers. So thank you. It's been a lot of work.
Thank you, Clerk Clark, and to the committee, the commission. Any other reports from meetings?
I do.
Yes. Trustee Bowen.
The Eaton County Materials Management Planning Committee, on which I sit to represent Delta Township. Marcus also sits on the committee with me. They have been tasked by Eagle to put together a work plan that would then get them a grant from Eagle to pay for putting together a new materials management plan for Eaton County. And that work plan was just officially approved on the 15th of July. So now the staff can move forward and start gathering the information together, putting together the plan so that we can have an upgraded material management plan. And that's recycling, reclaiming, composting, the gamut of materials management.
Thank you. Thank you for the update. We appreciate the update. Okay, we are now on to public comment, the last public comment of the evening. Anyone want to make public comment? You have 3 minutes. Come on up.
David Howell, 9487 Guinea Road. Wanted to share a story about my first encounter with a Delta Patrol Sheriff's Deputy. Number of years ago, I won't say how long, my wife and I bought a house a month before we were getting married. And we had already moved in, and we, on the day of our wedding, we came home late at night, and there was a message thumbtacked onto our front door. And it was from the Eaton County Sheriff's Department. And it said, please call, and it gave the deputy's name and the phone number. And so, you know, the best day of our life, you know, all of a sudden turned into, you know, you come home and you have something on your door, you know, from law enforcement. And so early the next morning, you know, we called and we found out that our 2 dogs had barked the whole time that we were gone out in the backyard. And one of our neighbors had complained, and he had responded to the complaint. And so he had an opportunity to go into the backyard and throw the ball around and play with the dogs and all that kind of stuff. And so it kind of mitigated, you know, the downside, you know, of that entire day. But I did want to bring up 3 things though, and I'll just mention it quickly. These are questions that I have and other people have. One is regarding the special assessment, 1.5 mil. The question is that if the $8 million annual cost goes up, will that 1.5 mil go up? So over the 10-year period of the public safety contract, could we see this going 1.5, 1.6, 1.9, 2.0? You know, is that possible? Because I think it's very unlikely that it's going to be a steady $8 million cost for 10 years. Second question is the $2.2 million credit. The residents and businesses here in Delta Township are paying for, as you said, we're paying for our own public safety now. We're also paying for the public safety in the rest of the county because we're paying into the Eaton County operating tax millage, which is, I think, 5.9% or 5.9 millage. And so out of that, my understanding was that the $2.2 million was the Delta Township contribution to the Sheriff's Department out of the operating millage. So I'd like to know, you know, that 2.2 million to me seems like a hidden cost to Delta Township. That's beyond the $8 million, you know, that's been discussed here because we lost a $2.2 million credit. The last question has to do with, it was mentioned at the last meeting that even with the 1.5 mil special assessment, we were still roughly $1 million short of the $8 million that was going to be needed to satisfy the contract. My question and question others have are what kind of cuts are being anticipated to make up that shortfall? Is it going to be a cut in services? If so, what services? If it's going to be a cut in programs, if it's going to be a cut in bike pass, if it's going to be a cut in something else, we would just like to be informed what are the cuts and not you know, moving funds from here over to here, you know, from MERS to another account, you know, to pay it off. I'm talking about, I'm talking about real budget cuts. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We appreciate you. Any other public comment? Okay, hearing none. Is there anything else before the board? If not, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you.